As we continue on, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to our campus tour, we got to talk about this playoff rankings and how it got confusing last night. Okay. All right. So here we go. The CFP Rankings Week 2 edition came out. And here a lot of fathers. Oregon still at number 1, Ohio State number 2, Texas jumps to 3, Penn State is at 4, Indiana 5, BYU 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, Miami 9, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia 12, Boise State, the first group of 5 team in the rankings at 13. You got SMU, Texas A&M, Colorado State, Colorado. All you see is the rest of it down to Army and Tulane at 24 and 25. You look at it and you're like, okay, pretty good. I like what we're doing. This is pretty good. But then you get to the playoff bracket, and then you see Oregon number 1, obviously. Texas is number 2. Wait a minute. Texas is number 2, but they're ranked 3. You got BYU sitting in the third seed slot, but they're ranked 6. And then you have Miami, who's ranked 9th in the rankings, but they have the 4th slot, which means if the season would have ended today, Miami, Oregon, BYU, and Texas all get buys. If the season ended today. I know y'all confused right now. I know it. Then you see here, you see Boise State will be playing Ohio State, who is ranked 2nd, according to the CFP committee. They'll be playing them, and the team that you don't see, who is ranked 12th to the committee, is the team that's out of the playoff, which is the Georgia Bulldogs. What in the hell is going on here? I know. So I think I need to say this every week because this is how it's going to be. The 4 Power 4 conference champions get automatic buys in the playoffs. So if you win the ACC, if you win the Big 12, if you win the Big 10, if you win the Southeastern Conference, you get a bye into the quarterfinals, while the other 7 slots are at large bid, and the highest group of 5 team gets in automatically, which will be the winner of one of the group of 5 conferences. Right now, the leading candidate is Boise State right now, and they do lead the Mountain West. Army and Tulane, they are battling in the American, so we still got a lot of football to go. But conference championships get automatic buys, okay? Make a note, write it, whatever you need to write it at. Conference champions gets buys, okay? So that's why you see the BYU, who's leading the Big 12, and that's why you see Miami, who's leading the ACC. Now, we got some more confusingness going on here because I thought about this. But Playmaker, how is Texas still leading the ACC? Currently, they are not on top of the SEC right now, okay? Which I took labor doing that for you. So let's go here. Let me show you the conference standings right now. You get to the ACC, you see SMU 5-0 in conference play. They are on top because they are undefeated in conference play, and everybody else has at least one loss. You see Clemson, you see Miami. But hold on, whoa. Hold on. If SMU is sitting on top of the conference correctly, why is Miami getting the automatic bye? And why SMU is not in this system? That is a very, very good question. And here's what I know is about the committee. They are picking their conference champions. So they don't believe, despite what this says, that SMU can beat Miami. And they don't think Clemson will beat Miami. So Miami's in that slot. BYU 6-0, top of the conference. You have no say. Followed by Colorado, who's there. Iowa State still hanging around. The teams you see in these boxes here, these are the teams that are still fighting for their conference. So you go from BYU all the way down to West Virginia. All these teams are still alive for the Big 12. SMU all the way down to Pitt. They're still alive for the ACC. Go to the Big 10. Indiana all the way down to Penn State. They are still fighting for the Big 10. And then from Tennessee all the way down to good old Brian Kelly LSU Tigers. They are fighting for the Southeastern Conference. Now you sit here, you say, hold on, Playmaker. If I'm looking at this right, I do see Tennessee sitting at top, right? Followed by Texas A&M, followed by Texas, right? Like, yep. But if you go back to the Texas, is the one that is seated second with a playoff bye. Like I said about the Miami thing, they believe the playoff committee believes that Texas will win the Southeastern Conference. So even though Texas is currently sitting at third behind Texas A&M and Tennessee, that Texas will win the Southeastern Conference. So I know it's confusing. I know it is. It is. And there's something Pat McAfee said something on the show today, and I was watching that I agree with. What if the committee don't even do rankings? Like, what if the playoff committee got rid of this spot right here? Just get rid of this and just focus on that. I think we'll be good. Because you'll sit here and then you get to say you can't, because Miami's ranked ninth. Okay, Miami's ranked ninth. And we look at the ACC, they are behind SMU and Clemson, but yet you giving them the automatic bye. What are we doing? You got Texas, who's ranked third in your rankings, right? They get the second seed in the automatic bye. But if you look at the standings, they're behind Tennessee and Texas A&M. Now, granted, Texas do control their own destiny because they do have Texas A&M at the end of the season. And if I remember correctly, they have. Let me go to the Southeastern Conference and see. We'll look at the remaining. They have a big game coming up this week, which we'll preview in Campus Tour because I know it's in there. You talking about Arkansas, Kentucky, and Texas A&M at the end of the season, so they control their own destiny. If they win out, they go to Atlanta and they fight for the Southeastern Conference. But it's the same thing with Texas A&M, though. Let's look at Texas A&M remaining schedule, shall we? All right. They got New Mexico State, Auburn, and Texas. And by the way, that game is in College Station, not in Austin, which means the Longhorns got to go to Kyle Field to take on the Aggies. Keep that in mind. And then we look at Tennessee. Tennessee, they have our spotlight game of the week. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. They have a spotlight game of the week, and pretty sure y'all know what the game that is against Georgia coming up. But we look at their schedule, depending on what happens with Georgia, because they still have Georgia coming up this week. Then they have UTEP, and they finish the season off at Vanderbilt. So the whole confusion is from the CFP committee did not help at all. Because when you did this, it confused that right there. I'm with Pat McAfee. Take away the ranking system. Let's take away the top 25 CFP rankings. We don't need that. We're gonna do it until 25. And then let's come out with this and explain your position on this. You can simply sit here and say, okay, based on what happened, we know that SMU is sitting on top of the ACC, but we believe Miami wins that conference as of right now. We like Miami's chances, so we slid them second as the ACC, quote unquote, ACC champion. Cool, fine. Yeah, the 13 of y'all was in the room. Y'all agreed to that. Okay, we got an understanding now. BYU, we understand when they strength of schedule and all that, but they are undefeated in the Big 12. They've been on top of the Big 12 for the longest, so we got to give them their spot. Texas, yeah, they took a loss to Georgia. We know there's just like a little tiebreaker with them, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. Texas and Texas A&M, they play in the late part of November. That's going to tell us everything we need to know about that. Tennessee has a big game, but if we had to choose between them three to actually win the quote-unquote Southeastern Conference, we like Tennessee chances better than Texas A&M and Tennessee. All right, we got that. But when you did this right here, this is what made everything confusing. Because now we're looking at BYU. How y'all see them as a 6th-ranked team in the country, but they get a bye? What? Even though conference champions gets automatic bye, by the way. But you got Georgia ranked 12, but they are out of the playoff system. If you didn't have this, and you said Georgia right now is out because they right now are not in position to win their conference. And with the group of 5 getting in automatically, that's the highest group of 5. Somebody got to get left out. Plus Ohio State looks good. Tennessee's right now looking pretty good. Penn State looks good. Ole Miss looks good after beating them. Alabama looks good, especially with the win against LSU. And then Indiana's undefeated. You see how easy that was for me to explain that? But that's not what they did. It was so confusing last night. I was just like, what are y'all doing? This doesn't match this, and this doesn't make sense to this. They're not connecting. So I'm with Pat McAfee. Get rid of the ranking system. Don't even do a top 25 ranking. If we have to use the AP top 25 for the entire season, we just do that. Don't even do this, because when y'all do this, y'all confuse the hell out of everybody when y'all did that. Just let the AP do the top 25, even though we can care less about it. And then every Tuesday night, y'all just tell us this is where the playoff bracket looks right now because of this, and this, and that. Will it change? Yes, it will change. But man, that is confusing. That is very confusing because Miami don't even control his own. Miami is now looking up to SMU. Y'all couldn't put SMU in that slot as the leading. That's another thing I should have did. Whoever's leading the conference should be in that slot. And it's you go ahead and say, because they are leading their conference as of right now, they'll be the ones in that slot. Until that's what y'all should do. Whoever's leading in the conference should be in that slot. Because y'all sit here and told us if you win your conference, you get the automatic bye. So, in my opinion, Oregon, correct. Instead of Texas, that should be Tennessee, because Tennessee is on top of the Southeastern Conference. BYU is correct, because they're the only unbeaten team in the Big 12. And then SMU should be in Miami's spot. And possibly you probably take out Ole Miss and throw Miami into the first round slot. Simple. But the committee complicated it to where people are now questioning how. So how do y'all ranking teams, and then how y'all see them in the playoffs? What the hell are we doing? Like what is this? So I'm with, if you're complaining about how the CFP have done theirs this week, I am totally with you, because it was very confusing. But hey, I try to simplify it for you. They believe Miami, Oregon, BYU, and Texas will win the conferences. They believe Boise State would be the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champion, which unfortunately will leave Georgia out of it because Indiana's undefeated. And by virtue of Indiana being undefeated and Boise State got to give a Group of 5 in there, at least Georgia out of it. But Bulldog fans, you can get mad at the committee if you want to, but get mad at your team because you lost 2 games. Like, winning matters, okay? I know we're gonna come here and say, man, they got one of the toughest schedules in the league. They had to play at Alabama, at Austin, at Ole Miss, and about the rivalry game with Florida. And I get all that. I am a Southeastern Conference guy myself, but winning should matter. So I don't want people trying to discredit Indiana for being in the position to host a playoff game, because nobody expected Indiana to be 10-0, which they are. Winning has to matter. You want to say who they winning, all that other stuff, don't care. They're undefeated. Out of everybody in this 12-team playoffs, Oregon's undefeated, BYU's undefeated, and Indiana's undefeated. Everybody else, all other 9 teams in here, Miami, Texas, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Penn State, Alabama, Ohio State, and Boise State all have at least 1 loss. Winning should matter. I don't care. Winning should matter. You should be credited for winning your games. That's all I'm saying. So Indiana's in right now. Georgia's out of it, but Indiana has a game coming up, not this week, but they have a big game next week. And I can't wait to preview that game next week. And that might be my spotlight game of the week next week, just to throw that out there. Okay.